today I'm going to go through a track that I've just finished in the past couple of days for an artist in California I've done a bunch of work for in the past. Great to be able to make one of these videos again. A lot of the recording work I've been doing recently I haven't been able to share in this way, so thank you to the artist for allowing me to do this. A couple of interesting things about this track. One is that the band in California had also sent me a video of them playing this live recently. They're still in the process of recording the track. That was really helpful because in being able to see the band live, you can see when the drummer is kind of laying in certain section, when the bass player is putting in a tasty feel, when the singer's going for it more. So that gives you a kind of dynamic that you can tell they're looking for from the song. That was really helpful. I'd never had that before, which was a live performance of the song pre-final recording. On this track, I'll play you a bit of it in a moment of what I've got. It sounds great already. It's a lovely song. You've got all the vocals are done, the bass, the drums, the acoustic guitar, and the pedal steel. So there's no electric guitar. That's where this comes in. It's harmonically nice and straightforward throughout. You've kind of got a verse and chorus that share a similar structure, kind of C, F, G, and there's an A minor, E minor bridge section. So I'll just play you a fraction of the song now. This is the intro. Going to leave that alone because it's lovely acoustic guitar and pedal steel sounds. And then the band comes in. You can hear already, the track already sounds great, so anything I'm adding here is kind of icing on the cake as I see it. So the brief was to add some kind of driving guitar parts, so let's have a look through and we'll see what I added. First part I added, and I should say I didn't, and the producer didn't want this to sound massively overproduced. This wasn't around layering dozens of electric guitar tracks. It wants that live feel. So I kind of aimed to shape this in a way that you have one guitarist and one speaker and another guitarist and another speaker, so effectively two electric players, and at no point in this track is there more than two electric guitar parts playing. One of them is all this sound you're about to hear. This part plays throughout, and actually looking back at it, this was almost one take all the way through, having written the part. So over the intro and the recurring kind of chorus break theme, I wrote a that's kind of the main hook that I came with, and then in the verse I let this guitar part continue but drop right down, so it's playing much more just kind of supporting chords because the vocal melody is so strong. I don't want to get in the way of that, and occasionally I'd add in space. Things like that, so that guitar part just jumps forward when the vocal takes a break. So it's filling the gaps and not getting in the way of the pedal steel. So I've shown you that kind of idea, and this really ran throughout most of the song. So you can hear the idea there, it's coming in and out in various phases, a few little kind of tags on the end. Most of that was improvised as it goes through, although I didn't stray too far from that, and it worked all the way through. So again, one guitar, one sound, and that's really your main rhythm guitar panned left. Now I'll show you basically everything the guitarist on the right does, which for each section of the song is effectively a different melody coming in and out, and there's a solo as well. So onto that. So the main other rhythm part that comes in is different amp, same guitar, panned right, and this is effectively another hook to sit on top of the chorus break sections. So you've got the same chord pattern underneath. And it's so that kind of thing. You hear And this was basically to complement the other rhythm part that's panned left. Again, it's another hook, it's another layer, and it's not really getting in the way. So here's what it sounds like. So those two sections combine, add a really big chorus. So every time you hear that chorus and break section, another main rhythm part comes in. I should say, quite unusual, I ended up using the same guitar on every track on this song, which kind of adds help to the live feel of it. That was one of the reasons for doing it, so that it had a consistent tone throughout. The other one, that these parts just fell out very quickly. Occasionally that happens, and you get lucky with the song. The parts you're thinking of kind of are the ones that fit straight away. And when that's happening, I don't really want to be faffing around changing guitars. So there's basically two amps, the guitarist on the left is playing one amp, the guitarist on the right is playing another amp. Overdrive pedal kicked in for the solo, and that's effectively it. Same Telecaster for everything. So on to the bridge section now. There's one other section in this song which doesn't follow the C, F, G pattern, and that's where it breaks to A minor, E minor over the bridge. This happens kind of predominantly in a bridge, and then it also happens as the very final 4 bars over the outro. I'll just play you it without the part that I added. I love that section of the song. It's great drums throughout and just the space it creates. So I was deliberately very much aiming not to feel that space. That's the effective part there. So I created just an octave line that goes basically along with the chords, ever so slightly falls into the gap on each. So that kind of thing. It's a melody that's being added. It's an octave, so it's not too fat in its sound. I'll show you how that sounded, and you'll hear it raise at the end and kind of resolve out into what's the solo section next. So, effective enough, pretty simple to play, just lifts the song in that section, and I'll show you that's also the outro of the song. Okay, on to some verse fills that I added. There was some space in the verse between vocal phrases and pedal steel where it could take some sort of little single note melodic lines. These were all starting and ending in a similar place in the bar, so I did 4 in the first verse, 4 in the second verse. When the producers in the studio, they may well choose to move these around. You could fly one from the second verse into the first verse if you preferred that melody there. So I'll leave that to them. This is the kind of thing I played. So you can hear there's a couple of softer ones, a couple more aggressive ones. They kind of logically, in my mind, laid out in that way, as in the more aggressive one leads you into the bridge, whereas the quieter one is in the softer section of the verse. But as I say, up to the producer, the options are there. There's a wonderful breakdown in this before the final chorus comes in, just after the guitar solo, which I'll show you in a moment. And during the breakdown, I stayed right out of it because it comes down to acoustic guitar, vocal, and pedal steel. It sounds lovely. As it builds back up again, I put in one kind of palm muted guitar just to start building it before the main chorus riff comes in again, the first thing I showed on this video. There was a little space for kind of atmospheric delay part. So again, it's the same amp, same guitar, same sound. All I did was put on a bigger delay and played softly with the tone rolled back a bit. I'll show you the thing here that I came up with.
Horizons I see go too far. Maybe there's nothing and maybe there's no one. Maybe you're happy and maybe you're lying. Maybe the road and darkness alone where there's no one to find. But I don't believe
So you bring that down in the mix, bear it in the right hand side, it's kind of spooky sounding. The pedal steel is playing a lovely part on the other side, so that's complementary. It seemed to fit. The final part I added was a short little guitar solo, 8 bars, same guitar, same pickup, same tone selection. The only thing I've added here, so the profile of the amp is a Little Walter 22, which is in the Kemper. I'd added a King of Tone profile on top and a little bit more delay. So you can hear it's just a little bit more meaty there. I really didn't need anything note heavy here by any means, you know, in keeping with the rest of the song. That would have been an unwise choice there. So went for the most melodic thing I could, C major scale pretty much throughout. There's a few sort of country Americana leanings in the stylings. This came out relatively quickly. It's informed by the melodies from the rest of the song, of course, so let's see what I came out with there. Pretty much it. So that's all the parts I added to the song. As I say, there's effectively one guitarist playing in the left speaker who's doing a rhythm part all through with that kind of main hook in it. And then the guitarist on the right hand side is playing effectively 4 different parts, but they're over each section. So if you wanted to do this with one guitarist live, you absolutely could combine all those 4 parts. There's no significant gear changes in it. There's a couple of pedals would be able to cover all that. So that was a really lovely song to play on. I really enjoyed that one. Thankfully, it's the first of an album that we're going to start working on, so I can't wait to do the rest of them. As always, I hope that was an interesting look, and until next time, thanks.